What's up, people? This is the Nick Wilder podcast. I have my first guest today. I'm excited for this brother. I mean, sometimes you meet people and it seems like you've been knowing them all along. You know what I mean? And it just seems like ever since we met, man, we just been two peas in the pod. It's been so cool to call him a friend and a brother. But I think you guys are tuning in to episode 7. We haven't named it yet. But for my first guest on the Nick Wilder podcast, the one, the only, the legend, the pastor, Jeremy J. Presser Jones. Let's give it up for him.
I'm honored to be here.
What's up with you, man?
Grateful to be here, man. Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, I had to. Listen, I had to because I said, man, this year I want to have more people on. I wanted to do that last year, but you know how these just run out of time.
Yeah.
Doing stuff, man. And
Yeah,
so
I get it.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here, man.
I'm glad I'm here too, man.
So look, we ain't got a plan, y'all. We ain't got no itinerary. We just gonna go kick it. We're gonna talk like we always do.
Yeah,
We
for
gonna
sure.
keep you too long. I know you got a date night with
For
Mrs.
sure.
Jones.
Date
so we ain't gonna
night,
keep
Mrs. Jones.
We're gonna keep you too long, man. So well, first let me ask you this, bro. So you from Nashville, right?
Yep.
So what was that like? Tell me about your upbringing, man. You the only child, you got brothers, siblings?
No, I actually grew up here in Nashville. It's kind of in and out, you know. My dad kind of moved around because he worked for General Motors. So he would go different cities and stuff like that. But for the most part, I grew up here in Nashville. Between here and Alabama, stayed in Texas for a little while too. I count this, it was only a summer, but I still count this. I stayed in Dover, Delaware for a summer. But yeah.
How old were you?
I had to have been like 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 10. But yeah, I got 3 older brothers. I'm the youngest. Yeah,
You the baby.
I'm the baby.
I am too. I just got one brother though.
Yeah. It's weird because, you know, even as an adult, people still say, oh, you the baby. Nah, I ain't no baby no more. I am the baby, but
You chill out on that baby talk. I'm a grown man. If you
grown
call me a
man.
baby.
Right.
Pull your mic back a little bit.
Pull it back.
You're just a host. Not towards you.
Oh, towards me.
Yeah. Cool.
Right there?
Yep,
That's
perfect.
good? All right,
That's
cool.
perfect. Okay, so you say you got 3 brothers?
3 brothers, 3 older brothers. Yeah.
Cool, man. And so what was it like, man, like just growing up in the house with 3 older brothers? Like, what is that dynamic like?
Oh man, it was a show for sure, and I say that because we had fun. Like we had fun, but at the same time we had fun. We fought, but at the end of the day, we took care of each other.
Yeah.
You know, so that was always a blessing. Even though I may fight with them, wasn't nobody outside of the house gonna fight us.
Okay.
So, you know, it was one of them. We took care of each other. We watched out for each other. It was a lot of me wearing my older brother's clothes, you know.
Oh, yeah. The hand-me-downs.
The hand-me-down. No, not even the hand-me-downs. You know, they would get brand new clothes and
Oh,
stuff.
you just
and
wear
I
their
was
clothes.
sneaking there, sneak in to get their clothes. But you know what? I was always upset because I was never able to wear their shoes, though.
Couldn't get in the shoes.
I couldn't fit their shoes. So,
Yeah, see.
you know.
If you're gonna crease, you're gonna be a big crease in the
Man,
front.
look,
Trying to
they'd
walk
be
in.
hot. But yeah, nah, I never got to the shoes. Never got to the shoes. But
How much is the brother that's closest to you? And what's their names?
so my oldest is Aaron, then it's Frank, and then Michael, and then it's me.
Aaron got the beard, right?
Aaron got the beard. Yep.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
Absolutely. Yep.
So who's the closest one to you?
And age, Michael.
Oh, okay. How older? How much older?
2 years. So we all 2 years apart.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So all 2 years apart. And so he's actually, him and I graduated high school back to back.
Oh, okay.
So my other 2, they kind of graduated beforehand, but he graduated 1 year, and then the following year I graduated.
So what high school you go to?
I went to Hunters Lane.
Hunters Lane.
Yeah. Hunters Lane. Shout out to the Warriors. Hunters
Hunters
Lane.
Lane Warriors.
Yeah.
So I got who's Hunters Lane's rivalry? Is it McGavick? Or no? I get the schools mixed
Well,
up.
you know what? It could have changed now, but back in the day, it used to be Weiss Creek.
Weiss Creek.
It would be Weiss Creek or either Maplewood. Those are the
okay.
2 closest schools to
gotcha.
Hunters Lane.
Okay.
But it was cool, you know. My brother played sports. I never really played sports. Remember I was telling you, you know, I stayed kind of in Texas too. So my freshman year of high school, I lived in Texas. And then my sophomore year, my second half of my sophomore year, I moved back to Nashville. And I was going to play sports, but then I got on started working. So I was like, I'd rather have money than
Man, you ain't lying.
sports.
You know, it's crazy you say that like about working. How old you say you were when you got back?
I was 15 when I moved back.
This is crazy. Like I think about having my first job. I feel like when I was young and I had a job then, bro, it felt so much more different.
Yeah.
I was like, because I guess it was the first time you were able to make your own money. So you almost didn't care what you was doing. Because I worked at a seafood restaurant, my first job.
Okay, wow.
Now, see, I'm allergic to seafood.
How did that even come about?
The only reason why we did that because my brother, he worked at the same seafood restaurant.
Okay.
And he was a cook. I'm tripping. He was not a cook. He was on the dishes.
Okay.
And so I was like, man, put me on.
Yeah.
Because I think he was working every day and he wasn't having off days. I was like, just let me work the weekends. And so I went in there and he was like, you know, you're allergic to seafood. I'm like, okay, I need some money.
So wait, hold on. Did you do the same job he did?
Yeah, but we didn't work at the same time.
Right. Okay. I'm just asking because, you know, the plates come back and they got seafood. Are you touching it? You got gloves
I'm touching
on?
it. I'm smelling it. I'm sneezing too.
Oh my God.
The whole time. I'm back there sneezing. It didn't make it so bad. When I started, it was in the wintertime.
Oh.
And so, first of all, I'm wet. They got the door wide open because everybody in there smoking cigarettes. So they fillet something, go smoke. They come back, fillet something else, cut an oyster, go smoke. And so all that wind just hit me on my west shirt. I'm sneezing. I think I was probably getting maybe $9 an hour.
Oh, you were doing good.
Something like that.
You were doing good. Man, my first job, you know how much I was making? $5
$5.
and 35 cents.
Who you must work for the pastor. That's how the pastor pay.
Man, look,
What you working at?
I was working at the Dollar Tree.
Man, that can't minimum wage.
Man, yeah, back then it was that low.
Man, how old are you?
I'm 36.
Man, I thought minimum wage been $7.50 something since like the 90s.
Nope. It was five. It was five. I got paid $5.35. I think I had been 16 when I first started there.
You said Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree.
I worked at the Dollar Tree too, boy. I worked at Dollar Tree when I got back from college, my sophomore year. Bro, Dollar Tree was rough. I used to have to come in there at 5 a.m, unload them trucks. Did you have to do that?
Nah, I ain't had to unload the trucks. I kind of had it easy. So I ended up getting on because one of the brothers from the church, he worked at, it was a Kroger like right next to it. And they were opening up. He was like, man, I know the manager. I can get you on. So I went up there and got on. I really worked the register more than anything.
Oh, so yeah, you had it good.
Yeah, I had, because I came in, I worked the evening. So I would go to school during the day.
Yeah.
Catch the city bus, leave home, catch the city bus, and then go.
That's so crazy because see, at my Dollar Tree, they only let the women be like full-time registers, full-time registers. I guess the cash, what you call them?
Yeah, cash.
Clerk, cash attendants, whatever, clerks. But the guys, they had to learn everything because we covering off days. We had to unload the truck. If they got busy, we had to come up there and do the cash register. We had to stock.
Yeah.
And
well, I did that too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I was on the register.
It's so crazy because I remember this vividly when I went to Dollar Tree. And this is how I knew that this was about to be a bad job. Because I feel like if you ever go to a job and they offer you a spot during an interview and say, can you come back today?
Yeah.
I said, oh.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, let's go to get this money.
Yeah.
They said, okay, Nicholas, okay, you get it. All right, no drug test, nothing.
Yeah,
They said,
come on right in the door.
Can you go get the green collar shirt and come back at 3?
See.
And I'm like, it's 10. I was like, no, that's fine. So I went and got that shirt, but them folks took me to work.
I know you was happy you got that job,
Man, I sure was, but man, I got so tired of lifting them Stars and Stripes. I think that was the name of the off-brand soda they had. Stars and Stripes.
Yep.
Bruh. But I had the little green shirt, but but it was rocking.
And see, when I started, they didn't have like the shelves like they have that. They had like maybe 2 aisles that had shelves. Everything was in baskets. I don't know if people even remember that. But when Dollar Tree first came out,
I remember that.
It was all in baskets. So Like all you had to do is just take the stuff. Well, if it was anything left, all we would do is open the box and just dump it in the basket and keep it moving. That's it.
See, that's easy. We had to, man, stock the shelves, wipe the shelves down. That was no joke, man.
Nah, we wasn't wiping those shelves down.
Man, we used to do it all. Now, it was a little janky, though. It was
we
a
were
little
wiping
janky.
those shelves down.
I think we had like an audit or something like that. And they was just like, yeah, so I had to stay late one night. So, hey, yeah, guys, we got to make sure everything is clean.
Yeah.
Get an audit in the morning. We have to pass it. I'm just like, man, we should have been cleaning up. We should be.
See, I don't even remember none of that. I don't think I ever even remember them saying anything about an audit. But I was in and out. I was in and out.
I was too. I was there about 3 months. I said, I hit the road jack on.
I think I worked for, I don't even think it was a whole, no, I worked for a minute. Because afterwards I started working like this little summer program. But yeah, it was a job. It paid.
Yeah.
I had money in my pockets. I blew through it for sure.
Oh yeah, me too.
Man, I blew through it for sure.
I brought so many Crunch Wrap Supremes and Fagos and Hot Cheetos.
It was pizza for me. Pizza.
Little Caesars.
No, it was Domino's, Papa John's. It's still that today. I love pizza. But look, so I was thinking about this, just thinking about jobs and careers and stuff like that. And I looking at my entire like professional life, I guess you would call it. I done had so many different jobs. I done did Dollar Tree. I done did Walmart. I done did security, fast food. I mean, warehouse work. I've done it all, man.
You know what, man? I feel like we hit the age where we went all around the rainbow of jobs. We went all around the circle. I'd had some jobs too. What's the craziest job you feel like you've had? Or just like the absolute, just like, bro, what am I doing?
You know what? The only job that I kind of walked in or really walked back out of, I worked for Amazon for a minute.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. See, I haven't heard that. I've never worked there, but I've heard people say that.
Man,
Amazon.
I went in Amazon. I worked for a solid 3 days. I was like, man, I ain't coming back to this. I'm not coming back to this. But yeah, that's probably one of the wildest ones. Is Amazon. Outside of that, everything else been kind of. Yeah. It's been cool.
Okay.
It's been cool. The coldest job was working for FedEx Freight, working out on the dock. But outside of that, it's,
Yeah, FedEx ain't no. It's like you think about jobs like FedEx and Amazon, those type of places. The work will never stop.
Yeah,
like the economy is going to have to crash all the way for the jobs to stop.
But I had it easy at FedEx Freight because I had
Man, you got it easy everywhere, man.
Man, look, favor. Thank you, Jesus. FedEx Freight I had easy because they ended up putting me on what do you call it? I did like tow motor inspection. So after a while, like I ran like the trailers and stuff like that, unloading and loading. But after a while, they put me on tow motor inspection. So at the end of the shift, all I would do is go through each tow motor and inspect it, make sure, ain't nothing wrong with it. I was living a dream doing that job.
Man, when I worked for FedEx, I used to drive for FedEx Ground. That's his own podcast episode, boy. But man, long story short, FedEx Ground, these contracts, contract drivers, so ain't no benefits. And you just, if you don't, I'm talking about literally, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't show up, ain't no PTO days, ain't none of that. I mean, straight up work. And man, dropping off boxes. I remember, man, I used to drop off boxes at what's that tire shop, man, at Rivergate? Discount Tires. Man, I used to walk up to the hub in Mount Juliet. I used to be literally praying. I said, Lord, please don't let no tires be sitting out here. Because they will pile the tires up right beside the truck. It'd be about 40 tires.
You got to load them
Man,
up.
I peek around that corner. I was like, oh, man, I got to go get in there and stack all the tires up. And I got to go there first because I can't do nothing else in there. And so I'm in there. And then here come the manager. Hey, man, I saw your tires. You going to be able to get it? I'm like, well, you say this every day. It's like, you're not going to get it.
You ain't sorry.
Right, you ain't sorry at all. You want me to drop it off so you make sure you get your piece. But no, man. So no, that was, these jobs, they something else, man. So you say so you did your little jobs. You was a teenager, you know what I'm saying? So what was high school like for you?
High school, it was cool. I wouldn't say I was like the super popular kid, but you know. I knew a couple people. A couple people knew me, you know. But it was cool, man. Like I enjoyed myself. I I had a solid group of friends. Solid group of friends in church and out of church. Wasn't really into a lot of stuff. But yeah, high school was me really learning how to be comfortable with myself, and also becoming a leader. That's what high school was for me. I ended up finding myself in like leadership roles that I really didn't ask for. It just kind of like came with it. But yeah, it was really just kind of stepping into a place where I'm learning how to be a leader. That's probably the biggest thing that high school really was for me. Just learning, getting out and being seen, you know, from a leadership perspective.
It's so crazy about high school, man, because I was telling somebody this, man, like just public school in general. I was telling somebody, man, high school, man, felt like it was nothing but insecurities and man, frustrations and everybody's junk that they deal with at home, even if they ain't got nothing to do with it. Everybody brought it to school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's just crazy how much stuff I feel like, at least for me, things that may have followed you in life, you know, bad habits or bad traits or whatever that started like in high school.
Yeah.
You know, because really, if you think about it, it was a super focused view of what the world looked like. Of course, everybody was kids and things like that, but like, you know, I feel like, man, we used to put ourselves under a lot of pressure in high school, or we used to put each other under a lot of pressure, you know, to dress a certain way, to look a certain way, to you know, I'm worrying about my haircut and my shoes and, you know, like you said, with money, like I got to have some money. The other kids, they got J's. And that's the first time I really knew about like Jordans. So freshman year, every time a Jordan come out, he got the brand new ones on. And so now it's like, okay, now I notice my shoes. I'm like, dang, I need to take these little buddies off. These little Adidas or whatever I got. I said, Mom, I need me some twos and threes or something. And so, but no, man, it's just, that's crazy. So but you said you find yourself in like leadership positions. Do you feel like a lot of that, like why do you think that was? Do you feel like, were there like things that happened at home or at church or somewhere that's outside that kind of led you to that, or you just maybe?
For sure, God was preparing me. Yeah, he was preparing me for where he was taking me, what he was taking me through, what he was going to take me through. Kind of touch on what you were talking about in high school, you know, when the peer pressure hit, you know, everybody got the latest J's on and the latest Nikes and stomping in my Air Force Ones and, you know, all of that. In my white tee, all of that, you know.
Polo boots, never had them. I wanted some polo boots so bad.
So here's the thing, man. So my brothers, they had it, right? My brothers, they had the latest shoes. They had all the new clothes, all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't something that I was interested in. So I would wear the same shoes, wear the same hoodie, same jeans. This is in high school. I mean, it just kind of tell you where my mind was, because I'm like, I really don't care about none of that stuff. So my mom, she would be like, boy, you don't care about what you look like walking out this house. You don't care about what you look like walking out this house. And at the time, I didn't. Like, it didn't change me or make me think differently of myself, because I didn't have what they had on. Could I have had that? Yeah, sure. But it wasn't something I was interested in until I got older. But what it taught me was, it taught me how to be grounded and not moved and persuaded by what everybody else is doing, right? It taught me how to have a little thicker skin, because, you know, you're going to get the jokes. You're gonna get burned on. They're gonna light you up.
Especially in Memphis, boy. They used to tear you up.
They're going to light you up. But at the same time, like, it didn't change my position on how I felt about who I was as a person. You know, growing up, my friends, they would have two different names that they would call me. One is Sweet Jones, and one is Scruffy Jones. Right, Scruffy Jones is when I ain't care about what I had on. You know, if I had some dirty shoes on, some jeans or whatever, a hoodie on, that's Scruffy Jones. But if I put on some clothes, it was Sweet Jones. But it just kind of speaks to kind of where I was. I'm like, I move by my own beat. I'm not worried about the next person. If I feel like this is what I want to do today, this is what I'm gonna do today. I still kind of have that perspective now. A lot of people talk about, some of my friends, family even talk about my hairstyles. Like, I done had every hairstyle.
You had braids?
Man. I had braids. I done had locks. I done had a mohawk. I done had the fade. I done had the Gumby. I had all of it. But it was just me expressing not only to myself, but to the world, like, I'm going to be me regardless of how I look, you know. And again, like I said, I feel like high school, it was that for me. It was being able to navigate and be in conversation with people from different walks of life, you know, whether you was the super popular kid or you was the kid who nobody wanted to talk to, who was stinky when they came to school. So I was able to kind of like move in and out and be all things to all people. So I love that.
Wow. Yeah, that's so crazy, man, because, you know, I grew up in Memphis, and around 5th grade, we moved out to Millington. It's like 25 minutes from Memphis, so it's still technically in that kind of area. And so, you know, we still had kids in my high school from all over, you know, kids from the country, kids from the city. And I remember, you know, like you said, you know, they'll throw this, you know, we used to call it checking. They throw jokes at you quick. And so it's just like, I remember when all that kind of started for me, because that was new to me. Like, people just picking on me all day for nothing. You know what I mean? I thought my little shoes was clean or whatever. But a lot of times, you know, like you said, it's peer pressure. And most of the time, it's one of those, like, they don't want to be the odd man out. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I remember when, like, I remember the moment, like, I guess you could say I was bullied a little bit. They tried to bully me, like it was 6th, 7th grade. And I remember I was like, okay. I noticed that the funny guys, they don't really mess with them. You know what I'm saying? They kind of use the funny guys as like the, you know, they just laugh with them, whatever, or they just kind of check and that's it. But if you don't say nothing, if you just take it, then you're an easy target. And I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to be funny real quick. And so I remember, like, this one girl was, she was saying something about my shoes, whatever. And then I don't know what I said. It was something about her weave stank. And I don't know why, but the class thought that was so funny. And she used to mess with me every single day.
See.
And I don't think she even had weave. But I said, and that's why your weave stank.
Right.
Class fell out. I said, oh yeah, I got to use this. I said, all this talking about me checking me is over with.
Yeah.
And it became like a deflection. Like I was like, well, I guess a defense mechanism. You know what I mean? Because to your point too, when you're that young, you just don't know. You don't know. Like you're just trying to figure out how to get through it. And as you get older, you realize, oh, okay, well, maybe it didn't have to be like that, but because it was like that, you just kind of have to learn and adapt and things like that. And you know, because when you're that young and you're somewhere that's not home 8 hours a day, you have to figure out a way to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know, you still got bullies, you still got people, and you know, people's really fighting. Yeah, you know, like people used to get beat up and talked about, and I remember kids used to be their daily, you know, thing, and it's just like, you know, I was listening to you talking about how just not being bothered and not really being letting that stuff get to you, you know, about what you got on, what you don't have on. Yeah. Like, how do you think, how would you say you dealt with that in regard to like did anybody ever come at you and be like, hey, Jeremy, how come you don't care about what you got on? How come you don't seem to, you know, or how did you just deal with that?
Yeah. I'll say this, because that was a conversation that came from in my house. Right. So it wasn't like somebody was picking on me, like saying, hey, why you ain't, But it was a conversation to say, okay, you need to start focus on how you present yourself, right? So that was a conversation that I had, that I would have with my mom in the house. Like, hey, you need not worry about it, but you need to put some effort into how you present yourself to the world, right? So I never really had that to where people would be like, why you dress like this, but your brother just like that, right? Because I mean, honestly and truly, like if I would go back to high school and I would put on the same clothes I had on in high school, and my brother would put on the same clothes he had on in high school, and that goes for any of my brothers, you would be like, do y'all even live in the same house? Like hold on now. They got on, and see the thing too back then, they, the Jabot pants, the Steve Madden shoes, and had all of that, which again, for me, it just wasn't a huge interest for me. But managing that and being in that space, it's hard. Like it's hard for people to just be in a specific space and not be moved by the trends or the pressure, whether it's clothing, whether it's sports, music, whatever it is, that can be a difficult thing for people. And I think early on, it's important for children to get that reassurance from their parents, and my parents, they weren't together, while I was growing up. My parents divorced when I was 4. So majority of my life, my parents were divorced, lived in 2 different houses. But again, growing up, I got that reassurance, not only from my parents, but I got that reassurance from my brothers, and so having that confidence booster from them, it made it easy for me to move in the world, So I think, one thing for sure for me personally, managing through that space, high school years, nobody was saying anything to me about it, Nobody was coming to me like, hey, why you dressed like this? And your brother got on J's, but you got on some Sauconys, Your brother got on J's and you got on some
ponies.
Some ponies, But at the same time, that was kind of like the culture that we built amongst each other. And even if somebody did ask the question, they was gonna check them. Like, I don't have to fight no battles. Again, I'm the baby,
So that's you pull out the baby card.
That's you pull the baby card. But yeah, man, it can be super challenging, especially when you have a desire for something that you can't get. That's rough. Like that's hard when you genuinely have a desire to be something or to do something or to have something that other people that's in your close proximity. Man, when you want something and that everybody else got, it's rough. It's hard.
It's crazy too, because even with that, like, you don't even realize that there was even something to desire a lot of the times. You get to, we talk about high school, but you see all these brands and it's just like, Ed Hardy, what is this? It's a shirt with all these tigers on it, but I guess everybody got it, so Mom, I need one of these $300 shirts. You ain't getting that. Well, let's go to Greg's or Marty's or Marshall's or whatever, and you see all these different brands and and not only just clothes, but even just like this lifestyle. Like all of a sudden, I remember like, moving from like middle school to high school, I just remember this influx of rap music, just over the top, because, my parents, we grew up Christian household, so, most of our music was, gospel, Kurt Franklin, CC, my dad, back in the day, he's a big Rick James fan. Okay. That's back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But he got his collection. But for the most part, man, and I knew he was a big music fan, and my aunt, she had some stuff too. But for the most part, all our stuff was like gospel and all that kind of stuff, man. But I go to school and all of a sudden, I had a friend, he was a big Gucci Mane fan. And I was like, Gucci Mane, what is that? Then here come Waka. Yeah, here come OJ the Juice Man. Here comes Shawty Low. Here come Lil Wayne. I mean, now it's just like, okay, now I feel like, okay, in order to, and I didn't even really know I was doing this, but kind of to your point too, not really wanting to be a target. And I kind of taught myself how to blend in and like, okay, let me, and defense mechanism, let me just kind of see if I can just get in and then just like fake it till I make it kind of thing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
no, it's just crazy how like a lot of those habits and stuff like that can be picked up at such a young age, and a lot of times you kind of find yourself trying to shake that stuff off of you as you get older. Because a lot of that stuff kind of, it follows you if you don't really kind of get rid of it. Because a lot of times, you go to these places as a child and you don't know how to necessarily deflect all the way. You're still trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, and
And I'll say this too: it don't follow you; it leads you. We've had this conversation before. We're talking about entertainment, right? What you allow to entertain you, right? Whether it's music, movies, whatever it is, whatever you allow to entertain you, it's leading you. It's leading you somewhere, And so I think to your point, as a kid, you don't realize it, but these different things that are happening in your life, it's leading you somewhere. And then by the time you get to a certain age, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. I've been using these same steps, these same processes, and I'm not getting out of life what I really want out of it. So now you got to deconstruct and you got to figure out, okay, what processes, what thoughts do I need to start thinking about in order to kind of step out of this and move forward in life. But it definitely does lead you. Like it shapes how you think about things. It shapes how you move, how you approach things. And I think, again, it's important for us to, and I know you all are doing an amazing job at this, by protecting your children from, the things that are in the world. And I don't mean that like in a spiritual, because the church, you're like, oh, they worldly.
Worldly. You're like, what does that mean? Like, please break that down. I've been hearing that since I was 10. Worldly. What do you mean? Is it a smell? What is that?
But I mean it in a sense that the world has so many things and so much information that they want to offer to your kids. And it's our job as parents to make sure that we are filtering what's coming into our children. For example, my oldest, he got an Instagram now.
Uh-oh.
So he think he doing
popping
something.
now.
Yeah, he got an Instagram. He been having it for a while.
Yeah.
Which it's cool. It's cool with me that he has it because he has to learn how to navigate social media. And one thing I told him before he signed on, I told him, I said, well, whatever you spend the most time watching is what the algorithm is going to show you. So I don't even have to dig deep into what you're looking at on Instagram, because Instagram going to tell you.
It's going to tell on you.
It's going to tell on you. Like whatever you watch the most, that's what's going to show up in your feed, But at the same time, there are things that are out there that you can teach your kids about how to navigate in the world, And social media is no different. It's a part of life now. Like you can't get around it. No. So it's like, all right, now the thing is, you're giving your children access to all of these things on the internet, but at the same time, everything that's on the internet has access to your children.
So even with the internet, you think about, like you said, just how much is out there and how much, I mean, it's like a river. It just doesn't stop. It keeps coming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's to the point now to where, to your point, you either you in it or you're not. Mm-hmm. You can't really halfway be in it. You can't really, with social media specifically, because for one, they need so much information before you even get started. One, two, you have the algorithms, like you said, that's designed to, one, keep you and to put you in a position to where you don't want to leave, Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you took the time with your son to do that, with your kids, because sometimes people just, and you see it, people just throw a phone in their kid's face and then and then that's it. And who knows what these kids are doing now? Because I was telling somebody, I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't have this access to the internet when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's just so much. And we had it, but it was even
Yeah.
then it was bad, and we knew it was bad.
Yeah.
It was slow. You
Yeah.
had to dial up. You had to wait. Somebody answer the phone. It's over. But how do you like? Because I know you had your oldest, but do your other sons, they want to have access to like those things too? Now that they see their brother doing it.
Yeah.
Or-
So absolutely. So that they see that he has the social media, so they like to take his phone and look into it and see what he looking at, and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like they know it's a conversation that's had all the time. Like they want the social media. The only thing that I still kind of consider this social media is Roblox because it's so many kind of it's so many not rules, but it's so many different spaces in Roblox that you can kind of get into. Like, they got the chats, they got, you can purchase stuff, you can build stuff. There's so many different games within the game. So it's really like you can connect with your friends,
and they love that.
and they love it, And so, they have that. But again, it's heavily monitored. And what I told all of them, I said, before they play these games, it's rules and regulations that you have to follow that other people that are on here won't follow, right? First and foremost, we don't share no personal information. Nobody shares their name, what they look like, where they live at, how old you are, what school you go to, any of that stuff. So all that stuff is off limits. But for the most part, they play together and they kind of keep an eye on each other. And of course, us as parents, we watching too. But again, a lot of this, man, as far as social media and the online gaming world, it's about teaching your kids. And of course, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to slip up. They're going to talk to somebody who they ain't supposed to talk to, or they're going to send a chat they're not supposed to send a chat to. Those things are going to happen. It's just part of life. We did it growing up. With all the good teaching that we had, we still find ourselves in some compromising situations, but it's important that we teach our kids and that we train our kids. I say this because, Scripture says, train up a child in the way that he should go, right? So that when he is old, he'll not depart. A lot of times we have the teaching, but with no training. So we'll teach them, we'll sit them in the class and say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. That's the teaching. But then we never give them an opportunity to actually implement what we're teaching them. There's no training. So, it makes no sense for me to say, hey, son, don't talk to these people. Let's say you get on Roblox. If you hear an adult, don't talk to an adult, right? But then opportunity comes and there's an adult that's talking to a kid. Well, he's never been in that situation before. So he's going to respond in that moment based on how he feels, not always on what he's been taught. So we got to put our kids in those positions where we're actually giving them training, not just saying, hey, don't do this. Put them in an experience where they have to choose whether or not they're going to listen to the teaching or not. And that helps build them. So when they get to that older stage, like, oh no, I've already experienced this before. I've done this before. I've been here before. And that kind of goes back to even what we're talking about high school, right? High school, like I said, for me, I feel like it prepared me for a lot of things. It prepared me even in leadership because I can sit back even now and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not moved by this stuff over here because I've been through this before. It may not have been the same exact situation, but the same feelings that I had then is the same feelings that I'm experiencing now. And since I overcame it then, I know I can overcome it now.
It's so funny because I heard somebody say something along the lines of people are just extensions of their broken high school selves.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be getting it wrong, but essentially what the quote was, it was saying that a lot of people's ego and I guess things that they're trying to accomplish internally, those things started in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just trying to overcome those past emotions that they never got to, you know what I'm saying, address then. And and to your point too, I agree. High school taught me a lot about just adapting, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, understanding the penalty behind the decisions you make.
Mm.
You know, and it taught me a lot about some people just not gonna do what they're supposed to do. You know, kind of like you said, that you have to give your sons rules because we live in a world of unruly people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may see that people may have this norm of being insubordinate and they do what they want to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you need to do, even if you're the only one.
Right.
You know, and so no, that's great, man. And so now, so you graduated high school, and you know, and you had life up until this point. So what was that like? So just being an adult, starting at like graduating high school 18, and kind of
Yeah.
what was that trajectory like for you?
Yeah, graduated high school, left Nashville, and went to school in Ohio. And it's weird because, you know, in high school, I had some really good friends again. And we were saved. Like, we were super saved. Sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, you know. All we did was church, you know. Went to church and played the game, played basketball, went to work, went to church. That's it. That's all we
Oh,
did.
you came at GCT, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, came out of Great Christ Temple. And before I got to college, I told myself, I said, man, I'm not gonna do none of that other stuff. I'm saved. I'm filled with the Holy Ghost. Man, first weekend I got to college, man, I lost it all.
Man, it don't take long. It does not take long.
Oh, man, it was wild.
Oh, that's gonna go right out the window.
Right out the window.
Before you can even know it, you win it.
Yep. And again, another moment where it's just like it makes you really evaluate and look at not just your life, but it makes you look at other people's experiences. Because for some of my friends, they grew up around that. You know, they grew up around a lot of partying and drinking and smoking and all that kind of stuff. But I had never experienced that before. I wasn't around that. Even though I had family and friends who did that consistently, it wasn't something that I was just like, hey, yeah, let's go do this or do that. But, you know, after high school, I had those experiences. I had my, rebellious stage where I was, you know, doing how Jeremy wants to do it, you know. But at the same time, knowing that God had something special for me. But it took quite a few things for me to turn my life back around and get myself back together. But I always had this thought that I wanted to do something special for God. I tell you this. So my freshman year in high school, I had a prayer. I said one prayer freshman year in high school. I told the Lord, I said, God, I just want to do something amazing for you. Like, I want people to know that I love you and that I care about you. And throughout my life, I've seen God bless me and show me favor in a lot of different ways. Again, like you said, and I never really thought about this. Like, man, you had made it all your jobs. And even in that, dude, I've traveled so much in my life. And a lot of times, man, I travel for free. Like, I had friends who would look out for me, pay for a trip, you know, pay for hotels, pay for, you know, all that kind of stuff. I attribute it to God showing me favor and God like reeling me back in. It took a while. It took me hitting my head. It took me running from God. It took me falling into some traps, you know. But through it all, like, God had me, and He was leading me somewhere, you know. I didn't know where I was gonna land. I wasn't really concerned about it because I was stuck on me, pleasing me. Whatever Jeremy wanted,
That's what Jeremy did.
that's what Jeremy getting.
That's so crazy, man. You said that how like, I hear athletes talk about it all the time. How like you can't really train for the game. You know what I mean? Like you can do reps, you can go out there and sweat, you can lift weights and all of that, but once you actually get out there on the field and that clock starts, he said that's different. That comes with experience. Once you get out there and you're not running against like the third team or the second team defensive back. If you're a wide receiver, you're going against your teammates and you've been cooking them all practice. But you get out there in front of a Darrell Revis or, you know what I'm saying, a Sauce Gardner, that's somebody who's just as good at their position as you. Now you got to go out there and basically try to stand on everything that you've learned and trained on against your greatest opponent. And I've heard so many people say that, man, they come up in a Christian household and myself as well. And then you assume that you won't be like how worldly, but then you get out here in the world and you realize I've never dealt with this type of lust before. You know what I'm saying? Like
that safety net gone.
The safety net is gone. I had a podcast the other day and I was talking about how when I left college, the realization, when I left home to go to college, the realization hit me like, man, I got to take care of myself out here. I say, because, man, I can get myself killed if I'm not careful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you go to the, walk in the wrong party, drink the wrong drink, take the wrong thing, smoke the wrong thing, say something to the wrong person, you got to really make sure that you're good out here. And, once you get out here, you have to basically fight lust by yourself.
Yeah.
And nobody around you is talking about Bible study and going to church and all of that. All you really have is what you remember.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember just, being in college by myself and I've always been an observer. I just watch people from a distance and I'll just look at people, see what they're doing that. I was like, man, people used to party as if they was getting paid to do it. Like I can't even explain it, but it was just like, man,
it was a sport.
It was a sport. You know what I'm saying?
They loved it.
And I remember, man, we 18, we still kids.
Yeah.
Folks drinking, smoking, sexing. They doing all of this all around you.
Yeah.
And you just standing there and it's just like, you just look up and you in it. Yeah. And it's just like, dang, I'm drunk.
How did I get here?
You know what I mean?
How did I get here?
And so, I can really attest to that as well. But I know you had mentioned now that you're, we get into this next, now that you're a pastor, how did you get yourself to a point to come all the way out of that? Like, how do you, and I know, no one's perfect. No one is, we all need the grace of God, but what was the thing that made you say, you know what, Jeremy, you got to get it together and I got to do my thing. Or if not, this is going to take me out.
Yeah. One thing I never stopped doing, I never stopped going to church. And all of the foolishness that I found myself involved in, I never stopped going to church. And I know, you hear it in scripture, double-minded mind, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. But I understood that church was my lifeline. Although in some cases I was not repentant at all, I understood that if I was to ever need help, I knew the only place I could get help from was God. And so, say all that to say, we were living in Antioch at the time. And at the time, we were living in Antioch. We were moving out of the place that we lived in, which was my grandmother's house. And I remember being at the storage and was moving stuff into a storage. And I asked, and I'm sitting there, I'm talking to, me and my brother were just talking. And the Lord just told me, he was like, hey, I need you to go and visit this church. Right. And so I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll go over there. Ain't nothing different. So I'm like, the Lord's like, go visit this church. The church was New Life Apostolic Assembly. Bishop George T. Dunlap. So he's like, go visit this church. So I went to go visit the church. And then I was like, okay, it's cool. It's a cooler church. It's my uncle. So I've been there before, grew up going to this church. And so I went over there and he pulled me into the office, right? Probably like the second visit. I went like 2 Sundays in a row.
How old were you?
I was 23, 24, one of those. But yeah, he pulled me into the office and we had a conversation. It was about what I was doing currently.
Yeah, he knew.
I don't know like how he knew. But part of that was we had just had my oldest son, right? So we had my oldest son. We weren't married, out of wedlock. So he pulled me into his office. We had a conversation. We just talked, and he told me some things that I needed to hear, not just spiritually, but as a man. So we talked then, and that conversation led into me like gradually giving God my yes. And so a lot of it I attributed to him being a vessel and simply bringing me into an office to have a conversation about being a man, about responsibility, about being a child of God. Like, it's just, to me, when I look back on it now, I'm like, man, that conversation was a simple conversation, but it was so powerful. Like, it literally shifted me. And from that point, I started getting back into church. I started getting back involved. Was I completely right? Nah. It was still some stuff in there that the Lord was still saying, hey, I need you to let this go of. But, as a man, as a human, I was like, all right, God, you can have this right here, but I'm going to hold on to this for a little minute.
Yeah.
I'll give you this a little later,
Yeah.
But as time progressed, the Lord just, kept dealing with me, kept convicting me on certain things I was involved in, I was doing. And essentially, God saved my life through a conversation. It wasn't a super deep conversation, but he pulled me back in just by one simple conversation that led to me saying yes to God consistently. And I think a lot of times, and I say this even now as a pastor, I still have to consistently say yes to God. There's not a moment in my life that I can go and say, hey, I'm not saying yes to God. Because the moment I say no to God is the moment I find myself back in sin. And all of us are literally one step away from being hell-bound, So saying yes to God is not just a moment thing. It's a lifestyle. I think we glorify that term. I say yes to God, You say yes to God then, but what about now?
What about tomorrow?
Right.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that conversation, and of course I ended up joining that church. And the Lord just kept dealing with me. And even now, like, the name of our church is Generation of Vision. I actually started Generation of Vision as an outreach ministry. Now it's probably been, 13 years ago now. I had no intentions on being a pastor at all. If I'm being truthful, I wanted to travel and preach. That's it. Like I ain't want no church.
You want to be an
I
evangelist.
want to be an evangelist. Praise the Lord, Doc. I just flew in from.
Listen, we can't pay the men of God for coming all the way from Nashville, but we can bless them as we act.
But yeah, man, that was my thought process. That was my idea. But God had other things in store. And again, like I said, I can look back and see like God literally was preparing me from the time I was in high school all the way up until now. Again, when I started that outreach ministry, we was doing different events. We was doing concerts and backpack giveaways and worship nights and food. We was doing all kind of stuff. But my thought was, I looked at my own life, my own experiences, and how I felt when I was in the world, and how I felt when the church found out that I was in sin. And I wanted to make sure that our generation knew, and that they knew that even if they feel those same feelings that I felt, that God still had a place for them. God still had purpose for them and a plan for them. And that's why we started Generation of Vision as an outreach ministry all those years ago, and so that we can create a space that was all about restoration, that was about restoring people back into the body of Christ. So now, years later, the Lord called us to pastor, and I'm like, God, what we gonna call this church? I don't know what you want us to do. I just know you calling us. And so he was like, I gave you the blueprint. I'm like, hold on, what are you talking about? Like, I gave you the blueprint already. I already told you what to do. You didn't know this is what I was doing, but I did. And so, of course, we, talk with our pastor, our leader, and the Lord sent us out. It's crazy, man. Like I still, even today, it still blows my mind. I'm like, dude, you a pastor.
A whole pastor. I told you I got to start bringing you your waters with a little napkin on the top. You graduated. You graduated with water bottles. You get that thick. You just have that thick glass with the little squares on. Where they find these heavy glasses from?
I don't know where they find this stuff from.
Man, and so now you're a pastor. Right, you Pastor J. That's what the kids that they call you, Pastor J.
Pastor J.
Man, so many people. There's so many different types of pastors. So many people become pastors for so many different reasons. Some are forced.
Mm-hmm.
Because their dad was a pastor, and now everybody's like, well, you gotta. And so they inherit it that way. Some people actually want to be. They go out and they build a church. Some people do it for ill-gotten gains, whether that's just money or whatever. But when you look at what you've been able to do so far with the church, and you've been doing a great job, by the way.
Appreciate it.
And my wife and I, we talk about y'all all the time because regardless of what, I'm not a pastor, but regardless of what many people may think, I would assume that being a pastor is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question to you is, what would you say has been the biggest surprise to you so far as being a pastor? Like what's been something that like, man, like I didn't really see this, or I didn't really expect this?
Surprise.
Because I know coming up so much all the time, you've been around so many pastors, so you already know what's assumed. But what's something that's just like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, let me preface this question with, I have from a pastoral position, I have two leaders that have been what's the word I'm looking for? They have been invaluable to me, which is my pastor, Bishop George T. Dunlap, as well as my father-in-law, Pastor R.J. Sawyers. Those two have saved us from a lot of heartache that comes with being a new pastor, being a pastor in general. Their teaching, their training, their wisdom their advice to us have been top tier. Let me start by saying that. Secondly, uh, the most I'll say the most surprising thing is how quick Wednesday and Sunday comes. I'll say that. How quick Wednesday and Sunday comes. It's a lot different when you have to plan to preach for like a special service or something like that. When it go from special services to every week, every Wednesday, every Sunday, it's a whole nother level of stewardship, another level of study. I mean, that would be probably the most surprising thing about how fast Wednesday and Sunday
They
comes
come quick.
around.
Do you find yourself, do you, and I don't know if you even know this or not, but do you see yourself as being, pastoring up until, 50, 60, or do you see this as something that maybe, like, are you open to this being just a temporary thing, or do you feel like this is something that you're going to be in until just whenever? Like, how do you feel about, like, I guess your timeline as pastoring?
Timeline. I'll say this. I believe what the word says about vision, right? And the word tells us that vision is for an appointed time, meaning that it's going to come to an end, right? But my belief is that even with our church, that at some point God will send us someone with a fresh mind, with fresh vision, that will take our church further. But as far as a timeline, I'm not really sure. I don't want to be pastoring when I'm. Let me put it like this: I don't want to be pastoring in this capacity when I'm 70, 80 years old.
Is it scary? Like, is anything about it kind of gives you anxiety, or kind of gives you like the,
I don't want to say it's scary to be doing it that long, but I'll just say I believe in the next generation.
Well, I mean, just being a pastor.
Oh, being a pastor in general.
Generally, is it?
At times, I don't say it's scary, but at times God definitely pushes you beyond your own thoughts. You have to be willing to sacrifice more, give up more things. You got to be willing to change the way you act. You got to be willing to change the way you think about things. You got to have a whole lot of patience. Oh my God. You got to have a whole lot of patience. And I don't say that, in a sense that people are being rude and mean and all those kind of things, those negative things. I'm saying it in the sense of some things just take time. Some things, it takes patience for God to really reveal the whole picture. And that can be frustrating, especially for visionaries, for dreamers, because you already see it, but it's just taking a little time to get there. But, I don't say it's scary. I don't think it's scary. Did I have my reservations about walking into this? Absolutely. Even being in it. Of course, I've had my reservations. I'm a man. I'm human. There are things that will happen that you thought were going to happen, that you believed that God was going to do. And when God doesn't do those things, you got to have enough faith to know that in spite of, God is still able. That's a message right there.
Well, you sound just like a pastor. He sounds, some pastors, they can't help but to preach. Say, hey, how do I get downtown? So one thing about direction.
If you look up,
there's always a sign. But no, that's good, man. So we can wrap up with this, man. Let me ask you this. So I know you had talked about who you were and what you've done,
Mm-hmm.
and their process. And I guess the watershed moment of talking to your former pastor, and he kind of giving you that talk that got you out of that, because obviously he wasn't trying to get you into the pulpit to preach. He was trying to talk to you as a man because he loved you. He needed to hear this.
Right.
So to those young men who may be in that situation that you were in at the time, in the same way that Bishop Dunlap spoke that to you, what is it that you like to say to those? If someone may be watching this, a young man who may be kind of going with those same things, which is kind of in that season of just going back and forth and just lost and just kind of caught up in a bunch of stuff, what would you say to that person who may need to hear the same things that you heard?
Yeah. First, I would say there is more to life than what you are experiencing. I say that because a lot of times we get into that mind frame that this is the only way. I'm experiencing this because there is no other way. And the Bible is very clear. And Jesus says this. He says, I am the way.
Come on. The truth.
And the life. So a lot of times we feel like we're stuck in this cycle. And we feel like there is no way. But God is the way. Right? We look for different ways out, And a lot of times we look for different ways to stay in. But when all the facts are presented, all the opinions are presented, we're left with our thoughts. We're left with a decision whether or not we believe God or not. And if we believe God, right, if we believe that He is, then we got to also believe that He's able, right? So I would say to anybody, with whatever circumstance, whatever problem, whatever issue, God has so much more in store for you. You're looking at your own experiences. You're looking through your own lens. But how does God see you? When God sees you, what does He say about you? Right? Scripture said He looks beyond our faults and sees our needs. When God created the world, He created Adam and Eve. He looked at them and He said, I created them, right? But He also said, I created them very good. And that's how God sees you. Very good. In spite of all of your mistakes, all your issues, all your struggles, He sees you as very good. And once we start seeing ourselves as God sees us, then we'll find that He's going to give us the strength, right, in our weaknesses. And we'll see the perfection of God happen in our lives. So I say that to anybody who's struggling, anybody who's in the valley of decision, as the old folks would say. It's important that you know that God does not think any less of you. He still sees the same person that He called. He still sees the same person that He gave purpose to before they were even born.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Jeremy Jones. I appreciate you coming in, man. That was great, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, so you're never going to do this again. So this is just not a one-off. So I hope you know this. This is just part one of many. This is just part one of the series.
Oh, Lord, not a series.
That's how the pastors talk. This is just part one of the series. So, man, listen, Jeremy, listen, bro. I appreciate you coming in, man. Like I said, bro, it's always a pleasure when we get to talk. And I'm glad we got to do this. And I'm glad you got to be the first guest on the Nick Wilder podcast, man. This means a lot, man.
Yeah, man.
And I got a pastor, too? Oh, boy.
It means a lot to me, man. It's my first podcast.
I can't tell, man. I thought I was in church. I said, man, it's like a pulpit over there. But I appreciate you, man. Love you,
man.
Bro.
Appreciate you too, man.
I appreciate y'all watching, man. Thank y'all so much. Be sure to follow. Oh, can you let them know the church information, where they can find the church, things like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our church, again, is Generation of Vision. You can actually find us on all of those social medias, Facebook, Instagram. at Generation of Vision. You can also go to our website, www.generationofvision.org. And yeah, that's how you can reach us, contact us. And we love to hear from you.
Cool. Hey, man, thank you for coming again, man.
Yes,
Love
sir.
y'all. Episode 7's in the books. Peace out. Hey, man, you did
That was good, man.
That was great.